I'd like to welcome everyone to Willis ISD's District Dynamics for December 9th, 2015. I'm your host, Superintendent Tim Harkrider. Thank you very much for joining us. Education is exciting and great things are happening in Willis ISD. We stand together as one team with one purpose, focused on the success of each student each and every day. Education will get more exciting as we build new facilities and add new programs to accommodate increased enrollment. Our community came together to support the largest bond proposition in Willis ISD history, and they supported it by the largest percentage of yes votes in Willis ISD's history. And this bond is an investment in the future of our students, and we will continue to work together to ensure the success in high school and beyond. And I can't begin to thank our community. You know, as a lot of times in school districts, we deal with negativity and putting out fires from time to time. We always hear when we're not doing things right, and from time to time we hear when we are doing things right. But very rarely do you get an opportunity for your community to come together and actually show their support. Are you on the right track? Are people bought in? And passing of a bond is one of those ways. It had been 9 years since we had went for a bond proposition, and for it to come out and be the largest one because we need it. It was also based on the current percentage of growth of our current enrollment, which is roughly about 3% a year. We do have a lot of new facilities and new residential areas going up, so our enrollment will grow a little bit higher than what our average has been. But the bond was really about our current growth and the kids that are currently in our school district. And to get that percentage passed at 61% was great. I think I know my Board of Trustees was extremely excited about it. A lot of the community is excited, and we feel good going forward. Our first priority will be the drive improvements at Turner, Cannon, Brabham, and Metter. We're also planning to complete the new track at Brabham Middle School and install field turf at Yates Stadium, and we would like all three of those projects completed by August of 2016, which will be prior to the start of next school year. Excited we're in the planning phases of that, in the process of hiring either one or multiple construction managers at risk. So we're about to get really busy with these plans, and we were excited about it. We will keep you updated on the progress of each project as our bond election pages on our websites will convert to construction updates. We'll give you timelines, pictures as progress is going up. And we plan to be good stewards, pledge to be good stewards of the community, faith, and funds that have been entrusted to our care. While this was an historical bond election for Willis ISD, history is made in large and small ways across our district each and every day. Our MVP for November makes history come alive for her students every day. Enter her classroom, and you will hear 8th grade students excited and shouting out answers about the Magna Carta, Articles of Confederation, and the U.S. Constitution. Miss Julie Peters' classes at Brabham Middle School could be mistaken for a $1 million game show, but have no doubt that her creative methods of engaging kids leads to meaningful conversations and higher-level thinking. She's a dynamic teacher who creates excitement in her classroom. She encourages, pokes, prods, and gently awaits like a master storyteller or game show host for the students' thought process to catch up with her constant questions designed to elicit historical details. Julie's a great teacher. My son Reese is in her classroom. Absolutely loves what she does. He is not a big fan of history, but he's excited about taking her class. He's learned quite a bit, comes home and quizzes me from time to time since he knows I used to be a history teacher. But she does a very good job, and working with middle school kids sometimes can be one of the most difficult challenges as those kids, their bodies changing, their minds are changing. They're trying to fit in with what do they like, what do they not like. A very difficult transition year, and we're blessed to have great leadership at our two middle schools and teachers who love their kids, and Julie is definitely exemplifies what we mean with one team and one purpose. And staff throughout our district also create opportunities for student growth in academics and other experiences that will become part of their childhood history. And a few of those are kindergartners at Cannon. They may not remember a lesson on informational text, but they won't forget the book they made about the ins and outs of pumpkins. And Mrs. Thomas's first grade class at Turner may remember winning second place in Some Dogs Montgomery County math contest. We hope Lucas students in Callie Evans' class will remember designing and building filters to clean up pollution in Lake Sam. The Dark Knights from Susan Burge's Animal Science class will remember winning second place at the Renaissance Festival. Their trebuchet competition. They competed against other middle school and high school, and Burgess Theater Art students got to practice their performance skills as well. Bravo students learned about the history of the U.S. flag on Monday, November 16th. We had Boy Scouts District Executive Corey Broadway stress respect for the flag. He also discussed the significance of the red, white, and blue colors, display and folding techniques, as well as proper procedures for retiring a flag. Bravo 8th graders Coleman Davis and Taylor Dernberger were selected for all-region band. They will participate in the clinic and concert on December 11th and 12th. Willis High School Savannah Solanco placed third in the Die-Ball Cupcake Showdown. Daisy Diaz, Emily Mapston, and Kaylee Starr from the Willis High School Family and Consumer Science Department also submitted recipes and decorated their cupcakes and table with a theme. We give a tip of the hat to Willis High School's Caitlin Berry, who finished first chair in the 6A region orchestra auditions. This placement qualifies her for area auditions, which will be held in January. And we also salute our business office, who reported that Willis ISD received an unmodified audit report. This is the highest assurance that district can receive from an auditor. These are just a few stories of what's taking place in our campuses and throughout our district each and every day. We try to highlight a few, and we don't do it justice because we do a lot more than what we're able to mention on this brief radio show. But we're very proud of our students, our community, and our teachers, the job they do for all of our Wildcats each and every day. It is truly an honor to lead this school district, and we're blessed to have great people who care about kids. So that concludes our first segment. We'll be back with a couple of ladies that I really enjoy visiting with. Coach Ashley Farris will be our first guest here in just a moment. Thank you.
Have a legal question? Are you a resident of Montgomery County? Call 281-645-6344 to talk to a volunteer attorney from the Woodlands Bar Association. We answer the phones on the first Monday of every month at 281-645-6344 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to provide general legal information and information about legal resources to Montgomery County residents.
Hi folks, it's your old buddy Luke Clayton, and I want to invite you to join me every Saturday morning right here on Lone Star Internet Radio from 8 to 9 for Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Bill Dance is a frequent guest. Larry Weisser and Mr. Whitetail is on the show every week. We talk a lot of hunting and fishing and generally have a good time. So remember, every Saturday morning, 8 to 9, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Did you know there are more than 790 abused and neglected children currently in foster care in Montgomery County? Will you help make a difference? I'm Allie Stevens with Casa Child Advocates of Montgomery County. We train and support volunteers to be the voice of children in the foster care system. Kids are removed from their home because of abuse and neglect, and we need volunteers just like you to advocate for these children. To learn more about becoming an advocate, please visit CasaSpeaksForKids.com. That's CasaSpeaksForKids.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Superintendent Tim Harkrider, and here with our first guest is Willis High School varsity volleyball coach, Coach Ashley Farris. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. And I did some background reading on Ashley before I got here, and I told her when I came in I learned something new about my guest, so I'm not going to spoil that. I'll let her give you a little background information. Before we get there, I believe you and I started at Willis at the same time. Is that correct?
4 years ago.
4 years
Yes,
ago.
sir.
4 years ago. Ashley was already hired, I believe. I came in as high school principal. She came in as a volleyball coach. Enjoyed watching her over the last 4 years, and the work she's done with her girls is it's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm a former coach. I miss coaching. I don't miss the practices. I do miss the games. But we'll get started and let Ashley just give us a little background information about yourself.
Well, I'm in my 7th year of teaching and coaching, and this is, again, my 4th year here at Willis. My background in volleyball, well, first off, I've played sports my whole life growing up, and, I love them all, but I definitely chose the one I was best at, which was volleyball. So I went to go on to play D1 collegiate ball at the University of Texas at Arlington as a libero and setter. Yes, I did set a couple records there, which was obviously the highlight of my career. And after teaching, coaching, after UTA, I went on to be a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness. And I knew something was missing in my life. I knew that I wanted to have volleyball back in, so I moved on to teaching and coaching.
Awesome. Very good. Well, she's done a great job, and if you've ever been to one of our games, one things you'll notice is our girls compete. They work very hard in practice. The mental aspect of the game, I think a lot of times the fans don't understand. The physical part is a lot of it, but the mental part is even more important many times than the physical part. You had, obviously, a season to remember. So let's talk a little bit about your highlights from the district.
Well, let's see. A couple things. So the first round of district play, College Station went absolutely undefeated until they got to us, and they swept every single team. And then we didn't beat them, but we took at least a set off them, which is a big moment for us. And then we went on to playing district rival Bryan Rudder, and we lost in them first round, but the second round we ended up beating them, which was a good confidence booster for us going into playoffs. The last 2 years we've struggled with getting in. We've been tied for fourth, and this year, the second round playing Bryan, we knew that if we won that game, that secured a playoff spot. And my girls didn't know it going into that game, but after the game, after we won, that's the first thing out of my mouth. And it was just such an emotional night for us, and the excitement on their faces and our coaches' faces was great, and it was a great thing to be a part of.
That's awesome. Sometimes it's good when we can keep those little caveats or the secrets of wins, losses, and what the other teams are doing. Sometimes that's the beauty of high school sports. It's not covered on Twitter every day and ESPN, so everybody knows every scenario. And we used to always tell our kids, keep it simple and don't overcomplicate it. I've got a son currently still in the state football playoffs, playing the state semifinals, and I'd heard a quote the other day because he would get a little nervous before games, and I'm like, when you go out in the playoffs, you don't have to be the best team in the state.
Right.
You just have to be better than the team across the field from you on that given night, and that's the only thing that matters. Obviously, great year in district, and then had a tremendous run through the playoffs. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the first team that we played up in by district, we learned real quick that if we played nervous like that again, our run would be over. So going up against the area, against Tomball, honestly, they really did outplay us. It was something that we've been working on all year, which was mental toughness and heart. Our motto was always heart over height. And I think that really came through with us for that Tomball game because it was 22-18 in the fourth set, and our setter/captain, Mackenzie Sprobo, went down with a sprained ankle, and we lost her. And a lot of teams could have shut down easily. A lot of teams would have. And my girls didn't. They knew they were determined to get to the next round, and that's exactly what we did. And then we went on to playing Rudder. Again, a rivalry that we will never forget. And we had to outdo every type of adversity thrown at us. We had our junior setter, Abby Irvin, playing with mono, with two torn meniscus. We were exhausted from playing the Tomball game on that Tuesday, so we literally left it all on the floor that night. And I think that's a game that my girls will never forget.
No, and I won't either. We got there a little bit late. It was about midway through the I don't think I've told you this story. It was about midway through the first game. And first off, drove up, and there's cars everywhere. And I'm like, good Lord. I go in, and we probably have 150-plus folks from Willis. It was so loud in there. So I stand up and watch the first game, and y'all win. So I go over and sit down by Coach Izar and Travis Utek, our principal. We lose the next two games. Well, obviously, former coach and player, I'm a little bit superstitious. So I go back over, and I stand up, and there's a lady that's kind of sitting kind of where I was standing. Well, I kind of snuggled up in there a little bit, and we win the next game. So it's the fifth game. I walk over to ask, don't we play to 15? And they're like, what are you doing? You got to get back over there. So I get back over, and another lady had gotten my spot. And I didn't want to be rude, so I kind of slid over, and then we got behind the first few points, and I just tapped her on. I said, I apologize, but I've got to stand right here. Yes. Could you slide over a little bit? She did, and we won, and so, I got to get a little bit of story out of it. But just to see you guys celebrating the parents and stuff, that was 4 hard years of work with great girls, and it paid off with the freshman class. I know you have Mackenzie, but talk a little bit about, you lost some players, but you've got a great group coming back.
Yes, sir. I lost 3 seniors this year, one of them being a starter, playing all the way around. So that leaves us with 5 starters coming back, which is great for us. A lot of experience gained this year with our younger players, especially 2 freshman middles. That's a a really tough position to fill as a freshman. So those experiences this year will definitely help them out for next year. My girls are determined every day. They've already been working a lot harder than we've had in the past in off season because they know that they don't want to stop at the regional semifinals next year. They definitely want to take it to the next level. That's
awesome. And sometimes, when you have girls or guys, whatever, teams that haven't went too far, they don't realize what they're missing.
Yes, sir.
And Stephanie Shelley and the softball group had a young team, made a long run last year, and she's mentioned the same thing, that, man, they're really working because they know what it's like to get there and how much fun the playoffs are. So that's obviously a very important piece. Talk a little bit about the last few years you've had the Dig Pink game. Great crowd, tons of energy, lots of pink. Talk a little bit about that.
So every year we've had the opportunity to find a way to give back to our community, and Dig Pink is definitely the best the best way that we found that we could do that. We've been going, the last couple of years, we've been going with the I Go Pink Foundation, which directly gives back to Montgomery County, which is exactly what we want to raise money for, is the people here in our community. So we started off 4 years ago raising $3,000, and this past Dig Pink night we raised over $7,000. So Every year we're learning more and more about what we need to do to increase the amount that we give back to the community, and it's just been, I have to give it all to Linda Irvin, who runs the entire show for us, does it all, and all of our volleyball parents that put in so much work and effort. It's a great evening to be a part of, and I love how it's not just about Willis. Like this year we played College Station, and we got their entire fans and parents involved. So it's just a great night for us. Very emotional.
It's a very fun night. Each one of our girls either has someone that is there, that is a cancer survivor that comes out. Maybe they remember a family member who had passed away.
Yes,
very emotional night prior to the game. Very powerful to see everybody standing up and the pictures and everything. It's fun.
Yes,
I think a lot of people look forward to it. We talk a lot about our students as athletes. We know, obviously, as coaches, we have student athletes, and the academic piece is a huge part of it. I'm a firm believer. I used to have some kids that would, school's all right, I'm going to work really hard in baseball. And my deal was, if you don't work hard at school, eventually you're not going to work hard on the athletic end. It kind of goes hand in hand. You've had some young ladies with a tremendous amount of academic success. Could you highlight some of those for us?
Yes, sir. So to start with, we have 3 seniors who are number 2, number 3, and number 5 in their graduating class out of 410 students. It doesn't stop there. We have our sophomore libero, Chloe York, who is currently number 1 in her class. Freshman Michaela Bain, I know that the 2 middle schools have combined, and those numbers haven't come out yet, but she was top in her class at Brabham, so I do expect her to be up there in the rankings as well. 9 out of 11 players this year received academic all-district, which is straight A's for those first 6 weeks. But it's above and beyond. I mean, my kids just, I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. It's admirable to me for them to be able to, not only keep straight A's, but to be the top in their class and play volleyball, some run cross country. I mean, they're just doing it all, and it's just exciting to watch and be a part of.
And it's what you call a sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And that's what our kids nowadays growing up, they want to do this, they want to do that. But, you've got to keep your priorities in line. And with the workout schedule, obviously, during season, it's very tough. Get up early for class. Then they're obviously studying late because these young ladies are taking AP classes, DC classes. I mean, it's not like they're showing up and having 4 classes of PE and art.
Right.
I mean, they're taking a full load. But, it teaches, because I think our job at the public education stand is you teach kids how to compete. You teach them how to be successful. And it's not just one part. It's all the way around. And that's why I love athletics, because I think if anything prepares kids to be ready for life, it's athletics. You learn how to practice, work together, and you're going to fail.
Yeah.
But you got to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Too many times now I think our kids get knocked down and they don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And you're doing a great job, tremendous program. Love watching you play, watching you coach. Like when you stomp that foot, reminds me. I think that's why I was never a basketball coach. I think wearing dress shoes, I would have fractured my leg because I would have stomped the ground too hard. At least in the dugout as a baseball coach, I could hide a little bit. So you do a great job. Looking forward to next year with all the girls back and see the fruits of your labor. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All righty. We'll be right back.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. Through our Operation School Bell program, we have provided new clothes to over 50,000 students in our county. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Lone Star Internet Radio is now bringing you the weekly business hour show each Monday morning at 11 a.m. My name is Rick Schissler, and I will be your host. Each week, we will be bringing you local, area, and national business news that you can use. The program will also feature an interview with a local or national business person who will share their own experiences, successes, and failures in operating their businesses. Our show is for anyone who already owns a business, whether they work solo or have employees, and for those who are thinking about starting their own businesses. A bit of information about myself. Again, my name is Rick Schissler, and I am a Silver Fox advisor who has over 40 years' experience as a serial entrepreneur. As a part of our show, I will offer some advice and encouragement on our monthly topic, and I will take your questions by email at rschissler@silverfox.org or call into the station at 936-647-3776. See you on the radio Monday at 11 a.m. for the weekly business hour.
I'm Lieutenant Bob Berry with the Conroe Police Department, reminding you that drinking and driving do not mix. Drinking and driving causes an alcohol-related fatality every hour in the United States. Stay sober and stay alive.
Welcome back to our third segment, and we got a special guest, Miss Felicia Jackson, our bilingual ESL coordinator. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, and I'm excited for our audience to be able to hear you speak today. This lady is as enthusiastic as anybody that works for me, has a true love for kids and for teachers and just to help people. And I think that's what makes her special. It's what also makes her a successful educator. So, Miss Jackson, talk and just kind of give the audience a little background information about yourself, because you've got a variety of experiences.
Okay, well, I started teaching about 22 years ago as a high school Spanish teacher. Then I thought, I should make a difference. I'm not sure if I was making much of a difference, but I did it for 4 years anyway, because I just love the hype behind what high schoolers get to do.
Right.
But I thought I could make a difference lower. So I went into bilingual education, and I knew that everything that I wanted to do had something to do with being bilingual, as I had lived overseas for some time, and that really just built my love for the language and for culture and for people. So went on and did that, and then I evolved into becoming a district level person in another district and became a campus administrator. And then my husband got sick, and I ended up coming here and going back into that old mold of being a high school teacher. Loved it. Mr. Utek was amazing. And then I found a spot as an ESL coordinator for a campus here and loved it. And here I am.
Yeah, and then I stole her from the campus and brought her to central office with me. And we know, Felicia, as we come in, the population of Hispanic students in Texas is growing and growing.
Yes.
And the need for our students to be able to transition from Spanish, their language of choice many times at home, to English. And, we had, prior to me coming into the area, we had this position filled. Then the person left prior to me coming in. The position has been kind of vacant and trying to figure out how to make it work. And when we look at data, we see we're kind of have struggled a little bit to support these kids and feel like we could do a better job. And obviously that's why I put you in the position. Talk a little bit about where we are, and we'll say right now K through 5 on our transition for these students.
Well, initially coming into this, looking at our TELPAS scores and all of those scores that second language learners typically take, I realized that the problem really started in kinder, and that we had some teachers on one campus that would do one set of things, and so everything wasn't consistent. It wasn't that we don't have good teachers, they didn't know. They're willing to teach and do whatever it is that the kids need from them. But what I realized is that also went up the ladder as they continued to go up to 5th grade. They were exiting, leaving into secondary, not prepared. So what you have allowed me to do is to be able to train all of our bilingual teachers, and hopefully we're going to be able to reach our ESL teachers as we have been able to pull them in and make them feel like a part of what's going on, especially with our parent denials. We want to still make sure that we acknowledge that they are LEP, but they've just chosen not to be in a bilingual setting. Nonetheless, pulling those two programs together and helping them understand that the second language acquisition process is something that happens across contexts, from home as well as school. And once we get our parents on board and understanding that this is what we're going to do, this is how we do it, I think that they'll be on board with our teachers as well.
Awesome. And, one of the challenges we have, and really school districts across the state, is finding enough qualified bilingual teachers.
Yes.
There is definitely a shortage statewide. Many districts, including ourselves, offer a stipend for a teacher to come in who is bilingual certified. And so those teachers are like gold. We want to keep them here and working hard. And I really feel like, and I sat in on a couple of your trainings that you did for just a short amount of time, but I think that was the missing piece. I think sometimes they always felt as if what they were supposed to be doing was different, and really not, but there is a little bit of a twist to it. I think you've been able to kind of bridge that gap a little bit. So I know just from what I'm hearing, our teachers feel that the support's there, they're excited, and really, I guess more importantly, their students are progressing.
Yes,
and
they absolutely are.
That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. Your mission statement is every English learner will acquire skills in their native language to facilitate English proficiency in 4 domains: listening, writing, speaking, and reading. These skills will allow them to actively participate in socially and academically challenging educational opportunities.
Yes.
What do you feel like has been the biggest gains you've seen with kids so far this fall, or teachers?
You know what? I think the consistency across the campuses has increased, and as I'm able to step in and visit them on a weekly basis, I'm able to address questions or address concerns, whether it's from the administrative staff on behalf of that teacher or the teachers themselves. I'm also able to see that the children are able to interact better with each other using the academic language. Of course, they always had that social aspect, the BICS aspect, but it was pulling in that content-specific language in both languages that they're now, able to use. So,
and that was one thing. 2 of our 3, one of our bilingual campuses has a bilingual principal. The other 2 do not. They're English speakers.
Yes.
So, and coming from a principal at an elementary campus that has some bilingual classes as well, that was a challenge. I took Spanish in college.
Yes.
When I played professional baseball, I had a lot of Latin players on my team. So I understand the language a little bit. Don't speak it too well outside of broken sentences, but I can kind of understand the flow of a conversation per se. But that's some challenges also for administrators who don't speak the language yet, especially K and 1, where a lot of the instructions taking place in Spanish. There's another hurdle for them to overcome as well.
Yes, it is. But I tell you what, language is just one strand of it, and good instruction looks the same no matter what. And so your principals that are in place, yes, they do seek my help when they need it, but they also, I really don't think they need it that much. They're able to acknowledge and recognize, look, this is what good instruction should look like. These are the expectations. Being able to pull in the materials that we bought for them to go along with our district initiatives has really made a difference. So all in all, I will say that I think we're on our way up.
Good. And I did the same thing when I evaluated the Spanish teachers at the high school.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily know every single thing, but I could monitor the kids, their interaction, what exactly are they doing. And regardless of what language they're speaking, you can walk into a classroom and see an engaged group of kids or not.
Exactly.
I mean, one way or the other. So talk a little bit about some things you're really wanting to implement and work on this year.
Well, what I'm really focusing on is compliance, to ensure that we are able to to pull everyone in and make them all understand what it is we're actually looking for. Like, what does compliant mean?
Right.
We say it all the time, but I'm not sure that new teachers coming in understand what compliance is.
Right.
What is compliance for Willis compared to another district? I mean, there are just so many components of it. Also understanding that there are 2 levels of language proficiency, BICS and CALP, and I know that many of our teachers assume that because a student has good BICS, that they're able to perform at an academic level that they're not quite ready for. Right. So really educating all of our bilingual and ESL teachers on that aspect of second language acquisition has really been the highlight of what I want to do.
Right.
And of course, making sure that leadership knows, you know, exactly where I'm going with this. Providing timelines so that they know, you know what, this is the season for TELPAS. We better get going. All of those things that I think were probably taken for granted because someone else did it.
Yes.
Now they're aware of it and they're in the loop. So.
And that's good because, you know, sometimes we get so focused and like anybody, you know, this is my world, so I'm going to live it. Don't really understand what's going on somewhere else. But when you see the big picture, or at least part of it and how it interacts with you as a teacher, it kind of starts to make sense of, oh, that's why they're doing what they're doing. So
I think too, it also helps with having our pairs. You know, I'm able to go to a campus, sit with a group of pairs, and say, hey, this is what your teachers are needing from you. This is how you should be able to do that, and address their concerns before they go in and offer assistance.
Awesome, very good. Well, we're proud and very happy that you're here.
Thank you.
I love seeing the work that you're doing. Excited about the future and how the program's going to grow, because I know we're just getting started with the great things. And, you know, our job is to educate any kids that come through, really feel like we've got this shored up now, and regardless of a student that comes through the door, no matter their ethnicity, their gender, disabilities or not, we're ready and equipped to help them to be successful.
I agree.
Well, thank you very much for stopping by today.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Hello, Montgomery County. I'm Rachel Baldwin with Special Olympics Texas, Area 6. Are you a fan of courage? Are you a fan of determination? Are you a fan of acceptance, grace, and skill? Then you're already a fan of Special Olympics. Make it official. Volunteer, coach, and/or compete and be a fan of dignity and acceptance. The dedication of our Special Olympics Texas volunteers provides mainstreaming experiences for athletes with intellectual disabilities. You will touch the heart of another person, and it will move you in a meaningful way that lifts the spirit. Please visit the Heart of East Texas Area 6 webpage at www.sotx.org. Also, like us on Facebook to be a fan and be part of Special Olympics Texas.
Hey, this is Cindy Cochran, and now Conroe can boast of another first. The first morning live talk show, 10 to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio, coming straight out of the fabulous downtown Conroe, Texas. Be the coolest guy at the water cooler, or the most informed break room dweller by listening to the fun side of the news, local, national, infinity, and beyond. The Cindy Cochran Show. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Our community's animal shelters cannot absorb accidental litters of kittens and puppies. Approximately 80% of the animals entering our shelters will not make it out alive. Please help be a part of the solution. Please spay and neuter your pets. Many low-cost options are available. Visit texaslittercontrol.org to learn more. That's texaslittercontrol.org. And remember, real Texans don't litter. Please spay and neuter your pets.
Welcome back, and as we will kind of wrap up our show, we're going to start off with athletic updates, and then as always our upcoming events. and the month of December kind of slow down with our 2-week break for Christmas, but then we get ramped back up as we come back after the holidays and get started in 2016. We'll start our athletic update with kind of a wrap-up of our Willis High School football season. It was a great year for our team. We ended up 6-5. We made the playoffs for the first time since 2011, but lost to Temple High School, very talented team. But really felt like did well, made some gains this year. Very well represented on the 18-5A All-District Awards list. We had 2 superlative awards. One was our quarterback, Mark Richardson, was named Co-Offensive Player of the Year for the district, and our head football coach, Coach Ashley Jackson, was named Coach of the Year. Extremely proud of both of them and the accomplishments and the representation of Willis High School. We also had 6 players named to first team. We had 9 players named second team All-District, and 7 players received honorable mention accolades. So very excited about the representation. It was indicative of a very good football year. Had a young football team in some respects, some success at the JV and freshman level and at the middle schools, and looking forward to a great year in 2016. So as the football wraps up, the thump on the hardwood floors in our gyms is in full swing as our high school programs are getting going. Our boys JV basketball won their own Willis Wood Forest Junior Varsity Tournament a couple weeks ago, ended up going 3-0. And our boys high school varsity team won its 2 games right before the Thanksgiving break in a tournament. This last weekend, they got second place in the Madisonville tournament. I believe they ended up losing 67-58 to Jacksonville High School, which is kind of close to where I used to grow up. They used to be in our district, but Coach Storms and his team's off to a good start. They had won 6 in a row prior to losing to Jacksonville, so gearing up and getting ready to rock and roll before district tips off. In girls basketball, Lady Cats defeated Kingwood. This was a few weeks ago. They're 4-4 at that particular time. I believe the tournaments are wrapped up and getting ready to start district play. Elena Laura and her group competed very well, played some teams up to some competition. Took some lumps here and there, but that's part of it. I think a lot of times your coaches in these tournaments, you're wanting to get a feel for where your team is and how they're performing. Many times we play in some tournaments with some 6A teams to push our girls a little bit to see where they are, and I think they're geared up and ready for district. Our wrestling team, our boys won their first ever tournament trophy at the Panther Invitational. They finished second on some great results from upperclassmen. We ended up having 12 guys place, which was outstanding, and our girls finished second place in team points for the tournament. That was the highest finish of the girls in team history, and very good. They've got 10 girls out. Very glad for the representation of our wrestling programs. The number of kids participating, girls and boys, have been increasing every year, and love to see them having some success, which is outstanding. And then at the middle school level, both our volleyball, 7th and 8th grade at both middle schools, Lynn Lucas and Brabham, girls and boys, are in full swing right now. They'll wrap up this week and next week, have a break for the holidays, and come back and finish out their season. So a lot of good basketball taking place. Excited about the future of the boys and girls programs, and looking forward to get out and watch some good basketball. So if you're a basketball fan, please come out and support. Upcoming events today at 6 o'clock, we've got our school board meeting at the Cargill Education Support Center. We also have an early release day next Friday, December 18th. All students will be dismissed 2 hours earlier than normal. Our winter break will be December 19th through January the 4th for students. All staff returns for staff development on January 4th, and our students return on Tuesday, January the 5th. So hopefully that's not confusing. Staff comes back on Monday the 4th. Kids come back on Tuesday. They get a little extra day off. And remember to get connected, stay connected for everything Willis ISD. Check out our websites, download our app, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and base the digital world of Willis ISD. We will, since we've got the 2-week break and the radio show normally would follow the first week in January, we will skip January, be back in February, and to share some new exciting things taking place in Willis ISD in 2016. Have a great day.